I'm attorney Nick Alcock, and a lot of people kind of ask, like, so, what did your dad do? What's your story? Many people are kind of curious about the arc of how did you become an attorney and why did you become an attorney? So my family is originally from a variety of different places, but one of them happens to be Virginia, and family has had a farm in Virginia since the early 1700s, mid 1700s really. And so I was going through the barn in Virginia, and lo and behold, I found these ancient, law manuscripts and treatises on the law. This is from the early 1800s. So I have some relatives from long ago that were attorneys, and they were judges, et cetera, et cetera. So it's always kind of been there. It's always been talked about, but I don't have anybody in my immediate family that has practiced law. My dad was a professor of biology, so I traveled the world with him studying insects. I didn't study the insects. I was mainly watching him study insects and butterflies and dung beetles and you name it, orchids. He was traveling the world and looking for things that had not been really discovered yet. So one of the things that I learned from that experience in traveling with my father was patience. So he would be on a hilltop somewhere waiting for some bug to emerge from the ground, and I'd have to sit there very calmly and very quietly and wait for the bug to arrive. And inevitably it would, but it would take 2 hours, and then my dad would watch that, whatever it was, and then he would come to a conclusion about the behavior and about the broader behavior of the animal that he was studying, and then we would talk about that. And so I credit him for my success, honestly, because I see that gave me a level of patience and an interest in other things, that then also look for connections that aren't necessarily obvious and be willing to take that time. The one thing that I did when I practiced, started my practice of law, was I kind of stopped and I thought about it for a while, and I said, well, what makes a good lawyer a good lawyer? And what's something that a good lawyer should do? And can you build a law firm around that notion? So I also have a business degree. I got my MBA at ASU, and we always talk about sort of competitive advantages and continuous improvement and things like that. So I was thinking to myself, what are some things at law firms that really know what they're doing? What do they do? Well, you reverse engineer it. What does the client really, really want? And so what the client really wants is they want to be told the truth, and they want to stay in constant communication. It's also important, even if you hire the right attorney and you kind of know that they're good, okay, this person's going to work. You also want to feel comfortable with that person, because that person, that attorney, has a tremendous amount of power. They are like a surgeon. They've got your life right here, and so you want to feel that there's that connection. So I built a very customer client-centric model that is patient. We understand when you're going through a tough time. We understand when you want to vent. Lord knows I'll get a phone call from people, and they just want to tell their story, and they want to get it off their chest, what they're worried about. And think about me. I'm 7 years old. I'm in a hilltop in Australia somewhere, and it's 100 degrees, and I got to wait for a little wasp to come out of a hole. I was trained from a very early age to be patient, to listen. And the nice thing about it too is that that's not something for me to endure. I'm listening so I can find a strategy that will help you. I'm listening to, maybe it's a piece of advice that can help you about what's happening in your life. I've seen enough at this point, 25 years in, 27 years in, that I've seen that this is, typically when you're expressing something, I know what the pattern is. That's something that my father was always looking for. What's the pattern here? So and that's calming, it's comforting. It's like, yes, you feel desperate right now, but that's part of the pattern. I see a lot of other people be desperate, and then 2 weeks later, they're not. So just know that. That's number one. The other thing is I'm looking for the grand thesis about your case. I'm looking for the way that I really can help you. I'm looking for the thing that's going to be what I call like the little nail that I can hang my hat on with the prosecutor, or the judge, whatever it is that's really going to help you. Can't tell you how many times I'll have a conversation with a client, and the client's going and going and going, and then something is revealed. And I'm very, very grateful to my father that I have the experience of just be quiet, take it all in, because there might be something that's very quiet, also very subtle, but that can change basically the whole story. And that was why my father wrote as many textbooks as he did. And that's why he was regarded as somebody that was able to connect those dots. He was not happy when I told him I was going to be an attorney. It wasn't exactly, he wanted me to be a doctor. My brother is, and bless him for choosing that path. It wasn't my path. My passion is helping people who need legal help, who need to have that connection, need to have a patient person who's willing to listen, who isn't going to jump to conclusions about who they are, someone who's understanding, someone who's seen a lot, traveled the world, seen a lot, made some mistakes in my life, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not here to judge you, I'm here to help you. So if you have any type of case here in Arizona, I'm happy to help. Criminal defense, personal injury, immigration, family law. This is a larger law firm and I get it, but it's not so large that I can't get to know my clients. I'm proud of the relationships that I have with my clients, and I'm proud of the fact that I've assembled a team of people that are like-minded and interested and curious and patient. So 602-989-5000, 602-989-5000. I'm Nick Alcock, the owner of Alcock & Associates. It would be our absolute pleasure and honor to be able to help you. And if we could just resolve some worries and stresses and you can go about your day, even if you don't hire us, mission accomplished. Thanks so much.